Real estate is tough. You can be surrounded by the greatest agents and still feel completely alone. There's something so powerful about human connection, and it is that connectivity that makes people want to stay and feel like they truly belong to something that's bigger and better than themselves.
What is the power of being in the right need to do?
Proximity, getting in front of people that are either like further along in their business than you will challenge you. Proximity is power. We've all heard that line. The only key to all of it is intentionality. You have to be intentional about what rooms you want to be in and the people that you want to surround yourself with. I always say a line that I think is so impactful, which is collaborate on purpose. We hear it rampant in our industry all the time now, collaboration over competition, but what does that actually mean? And if you collaborate with intentionality, if you collaborate on purpose, I've seen firsthand the power of people who win and go further faster in their business when they are intentional about how they're spending their time and who they're spending it with.
What has been the best room that you found yourself in?
There's power in two different types of rooms. There's power in small, intimate settings where you are at a table with a mastermind with 20, 30, 50 people. Like it's really an intimate gathering. And there's also power in putting yourself in rooms of massive conferences or conventions where the resources are there to bring in the most incredible lineup of speakers that are life-changing. I remember once going to our annual Keller Williams conference. One of the speakers was probably like one of the greatest leadership coaches of all time, John Maxwell. And he said a line back in 2018 that has changed my life and has changed my business. And he said, make peace with boredom. That quote has stuck with me ever since. And I heard that in a room with 20,000 people. So you could say like, oh, you know, when you go to these big events, you go to these big conferences, like there's too much rah-rah, there's too many people, you don't really get anything out of it, but you will always get something out of whatever you put into it. And if you choose to be present and you go to these big conferences and you sit in that room with your eyes wide open, your heart wide open, and you're like, I'm here to learn, and you're present, you turn off your notifications, you be in that room, you will learn something and you will take away something that will bring so much value to your business and to the future. The same will be whether if you're in a small room, in a mastermind setting, you could be in a room with 20, 30, 50 people that are running their businesses similar to you, doing something differently or better or more inspiring that you can glean from. But again, if you don't put yourself in that proximity and you don't put yourself in that seat, and most of all, if you're not intentional with how you are present in that moment, it will all be to waste. So it's not even just about getting in proximity and getting in the right rooms, it's where your mind goes when you're there.
Do you remember your first conference or first event, or just like intimate gathering?
Long before I was going to conferences, I was actually running them. So in my corporate job in the real estate industry, I was one of the two main people that was running and planning and organizing our annual conventions. So I was in the rooms of thousands of real estate agents, but I was actually the behind the scenes running and organizing them. So then when I left my corporate job and went full-time into sales, it was a very different seat to be in, to be the one sitting in the audience, knowing what was going on behind the scenes with the coordination and the planning of the event.
What conferences do you find yourself at?
At this stage in my career, I actually spend as much time planning and running and hosting my own conferences and events as I do going to them. As time changes and goals change and life changes, I'm in a season of my life where I'm very intentional of where I travel to and how I spend my time. If and when I do go to conferences, I'm always going to ones where I truly believe that I can connect and network with agents and team leaders and community builders that are doing what I'm doing, and that I can either contribute in some way to their business or vice versa. So at this stage, I'm really focused on things that are marketing strategy related, brand development, as opposed to small, intimate events or masterminds that are very intentional with a specific skill.
Top 5 things you've learned while being in like masterminds, conferences, events?
John Maxwell, make peace with boredom. It doesn't matter how many high performers or leaders I study. it always comes back to the same principles, that success is built off the compound effect of consistent daily actions and the discipline to do them, even when you don't want to. Neil Dingra said it at the start of the Forward Conference, summer of 2025. He said, when people are the goal, the energy never dies. And I really believe that and have emulated that as a leader my entire life, and especially in my sales career, because when people are at the forefront of everything that you do and you do it with so much heart, yeah, you might get tired. You might feel worn out, but the energy to keep going and the energy to continue to lead, it never goes away.
What are your most memorable conferences? Why did it make it memorable?
Probably one of the most memorable conferences I ever went to was the very first time I went to one of John Cheplack's private masterminds for team leaders. Seeing what he has accomplished and the impact that he's had on team leaders has been fuel for me to want to take a lot of what I've learned over the years and to help team leaders that have 2 agents, 4 agents, and are just looking to double that or to scale that. Our industry is so full of a lot of really loud noise around mega teams, and myself as a leader, I know what it's like to go from 1 agent to 2, and then 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and 8 to 16, and I've seen those steps, and we had so many missteps along the way that if we can even remotely help with some of those setbacks, that's one of my purposes and one of my missions. But I remember walking into that room and feeling immediately like I knew I was in the right room, because I was definitely, bar none, not the smartest person in the room. And they say that's always a telltale sign, like you want to be in rooms where you are not the smartest person in the room. And I don't necessarily think that equates to like outward success, like somebody's production or sales volume or numbers, but it's the brains, it's the ideas, it's the hearts of the people that are in the seats in the room, and you can have conversations and you can tell.
What changes did you make in your life after that conference?
Leadership changes, really, because your business will only grow to the extent that you do. Every time I've put myself in those hot seats or those masterminds or those conferences, it has challenged me as a leader with how I think, how I spend my time, how I communicate, the skills that I'm developing. So it's not that there's one specific thing that I could say. It is what it allows me to think about myself as a leader.
How were you running a team in 2016, 2017, up to 2018, and then how did it change in 2019, 2020 after that conference?
When we started North Group, we very quickly scaled. Like, we stayed within a couple of years, we quickly scaled and we opened multiple locations. And then we actually ended up being forced to shut them all down because of an issue with the Real Estate Council of Ontario. We went from being 10 agents to like 30 agents to like back to like 10 again. It's a story about failure and continuing forward to where we are today.
How often do you do one-on-ones with mentors? Like in these like masterminds or these events?
Because I think there are so many events where you can go to and it's high level. It's not tactical enough. Like, that is literally like one of my missions in community building and event creation in the real estate industry, is that I never want somebody to walk into one of our events or our masterminds where they don't come out of it with something so tactical and so impactful that they could implement it into their business or into their team right away and make a change and see growth, see improvement, see more profit. That's literally my mission.
Let's talk about CollabCon. How did that start?
CollabCon was born to become the signature event of United. United Community is our brand agnostic real estate community where real estate agents from all brands and brokerages can come together and just really help each other win. I have a firm belief in our industry that agents and leaders will truly win and will truly go further faster if we break down brokerage barriers and just help one another grow, support one another, and just get in rooms together that help each other. And so that is the premise and the vision behind United. And United puts on events and masterminds, both virtual and in person, on a consistent basis in order to do that. Our signature in-person event is called CollabCon, and it is designed differently every time, but it is completely designed to create an environment for true collaboration over competition.
Like, what value are people getting out of it? And like, let's get intentional. Like, talk about the first event. Like, how did it go? How did you feel about putting it on?
You can be surrounded by the greatest agents on your team, in your brokerage, and in this industry and still feel completely alone. Real estate is tough, especially in the market conditions that we've been in over the last couple of years. Even when you're surrounded by people, you can still feel lonely. That's why it is really important to me that we use CollabCon as a way to bring people together so that they can actually connect. Because if you don't create intentional opportunities for people to connect within community, you can still be around people coming and going in your real estate team or in your brokerage, but there's no true connection. And it is that connectivity, it is that community, that sense of belonging where people are connected to one another, not just their broker owner or their team leader. They're truly connected in relationship to one another. That makes people want to, number one, stay and feel like they truly belong to something that's bigger and better than themselves.
What makes you keep pushing for CollabCon? It's been 3 years now.
That the industry needs it and wants it. When we first started, people were skeptical. They were like, what are they up to? What's the ulterior motive? Is this like a brokerage pitch? And it was none of that. I've had to say year over year now, and I mean this to my core, I do not care what brand or brokerage agents belong to. I just believe that we are all gonna win when we rally around each other, when we support each other, and we come together as an industry and help each other get better and grow. And that is the premise of CollabCon, and it's only continued to get bigger and attract more agents to want to be a part of it, because when you come, there is no pitch. It's all value. It's all tactical. It's all things that you can do the very next day to improve and grow your business.
Let's talk about the relationships that have probably have built over the past few years.
So many friendships have come as a result of this community, United Community, as a result of the events, where I get DMs all the time where people are like, oh, I met so-and-so at CollabCon, or now we're going out for coffee, and like the selfie that I'm tagged in that says like, met this person at CollabCon and we're masterminding together. It's powerful and it is life-changing, especially right now in today's market conditions. This business on the best of days and the best of markets can take a toll on you mentally and emotionally. I actually heard a coach in the industry say yesterday on a call that I was on, she was like, name another business, or especially even in sales, but name another one where there's this demand or this expectation to work 7 days a week and to be always on call. And real estate has that reputation with the consumer. And of course, it's our responsibility as real estate entrepreneurs to set those boundaries, and especially for me as a leader to guide our team and to educate them on how to make sure that they're balancing time so that they don't burn out and they're not on call 24/7. But there is a perception that that is the expectation. It can cause burnout and it can take its toll on your mental state. That's why I just think it's so important to be in a relationship and in community with people, because you need to be surrounded by people you trust, that you can pick up the phone and call and say I'm not doing great today, or I'm discouraged about this, and can you help me get back into the right frame of mind?
What's the process like of setting up a CollabCon?
The way we operate, we plan our calendar for the entire year in advance. So we know we're gonna have 3 CollabCon events in 2026, and we know the time frame for all of them, and then we lock down the official date with the venue in the time that we need to. That being said, the thought and the preparation that goes into the actual program and the content that's going to be delivered, that's not something that we actually drill down until probably 60 days before. For CollabCon, which is a free event for the real estate industry, we need about 4 weeks lead time, 3 to 4 weeks lead time from a marketing and a promotion standpoint, in order for us to be able to fill the room with all the great agents that are gonna come to the event. That being said, we're so dialed in on making sure that we are only talking about what's relevant and going on in the market and in the industry at that time, that's going to help help agents with their business, with their buyers, with their sellers, that you can't plan that too far in advance. So we have that conversation usually about 4 weeks before we want to launch the marketing and the promotion of the event. And then we look at what are those topics, what are those things that are relevant right now for real estate agents, and who's crushing that in the industry that we could bring on and really elevate as a speaker, because they're doing that thing at such a high level, doing such a great job at it. Our last CollabCon is a great example. We had a power pack lineup specific to AI, and not just like AI in general. It was simple hacks that will increase production for 2026. We as agents, the number one thing we're focused on is doing more deals. Like, we want to be able to sell more real estate and help more buyers and sellers. With AI, rampant at this point, not the fear that it'll replace agents, but always wanting to make sure that agents understand how AI can power their business. We brought in 3 different speakers that are all in the AI world with different roles, different skill sets, but could offer really tactical value. At the end of the day, everybody's really busy, and finding time to go to events or masterminds where you could expand yourself as a leader or grow your business will probably never happen unless you're intentional and you make the time. So you have to make the time, be there, be present, be actually in that seat in order for it to make sense.
How important is it to actually find yourself in rooms that people have done the thing that you're trying to do?
There's something so powerful about human connection. It's really hard to explain. I don't think that it's impossible for a team leader to grow or scale their business without being in a team leader mastermind. I'm sure you could do it. There's everything at your fingertips online through YouTube, podcasts, things like that. But you cannot replace the power that comes from human interaction and human connection. And in a business, in an industry that is mentally taxing and can be draining, that connectivity and those relationships can be absolutely the greatest fuel that you didn't even know you needed.